commercial. I suppose people in Twitch land would probably hear better with this. How's that? Scratchy. Much better. All right. Nice title belt. What's up? Stay. What's up, everybody? Danimal, Daniel Jobber here, self-proclaimed Duke of the Cruiserweights, here for another episode 4 of 205, or of Jobbing Out with Danimal, Daniel Jobber, 205 Live in the WWE Cruiserweight Report. And this is the go-home show going into WrestleMania 33, where Austin Aries will meet Neville for the Cruiserweight Championship. So this show, obviously the point of this week was to hype up the big match. So, of course, we had a big, not a bad episode of Raw. Most of it was pretty bad, but it was pretty basic. But of course, we've got our confirmation that Seth Rollins is going to take on Triple H in an unsanctioned match. So we're going to get our Seth Rollins versus Triple H encounter. That's going to be so exciting. Oh, and on that note, I'm going to be at some point tomorrow going live with a or I think live, anyways. If not, I'll do the video. But with a report on, or a preview of WrestleMania 33. Talking about all the matches and my predictions and that sort of thing. So hope you'll join me at some point tomorrow for that. Get some information as tomorrow rolls along. But anyways, let's get right on into the Cruiserweights for the week. 205 Live. Well, of course, we start off with last week's main event. And on main event, as usual, they have one pretty good match. And this one was Jack Gallagher and Grand Metalik making another return to television versus Noam Dar and Arya Daivari. So it's good to see Grand Metalik back in action. He's actually, as I was saying, easily move up in the power rankings if he got a chance to wrestle a little bit more. So very excited to see him. The crowd seemed into this match quite a bit, more than usual. Actually, this whole week the crowd's a lot more into it. It's like they're starting to warm up a little bit to the Cruiserweights. At least this week. Anyways, if this is any indication. Gallagher starts out against Dar, but didn't do his corner handstand this time that he's been doing the last couple of weeks. So I guess he finally decided to mix it up a little bit, which was cool. But anyways, he did a couple of fun Jack Gallagher antics, as usual, for tagging into Grand Metalik. But this was a lot of Grand Metalik. This was really showcasing his impressive skills, which is good to see because he hasn't had a lot of time to really catch on with the WWE Universe yet. Metalik did a bunch of acrobatic moves, including a corner post moonsault into Dar and Daivari for the break. That was pretty cool. Good way to end the first segment and go into a commercial break. The crowd continued to enjoy the match, gasping, cheering, reacting to all the moments. Very good to see. Like, the main event's usually taped with one of the Raw, I believe, or something like that, or SmackDown or something before the show. So sometimes the crowd's energetic, sometimes they're just really not into it yet. But this time they seem pretty good. They seem to enjoy it for the most part. And the match had a pretty good ending too. After Dar and Daivari worked over Metalik for a few minutes, using a bit of teamwork and a few heel tactics, Metalik breaks it up with a huge springboard drop kick, and he gets a big hot tag to Gallagher, who comes in with a couple of beautiful drop kicks to Noam Dar, sets up his gut wrench pin combo with Dar coming out of a whip from the corner. Daivari breaks up the pin, comes in out of his corner, breaks up the pin, but this sets up Grand Metalik to clear him from the ring with a beautiful drop kick off the top rope. Gorgeous attack from Metalik. Sends him right out of the ring. And then Noam Dar tries to throw Metalik out of the ring too, but Grand Metalik grabs the rope and does a springboard vaulting attack onto Daivari. And this leaves Gallagher to kind of sneak up behind Dar as he was getting up and hitting him with a vicious headbutt, sending him wobbling into the corner, setting him up for his big running corner drop kick, which now they're starting to call the gentleman's drop kick. And this seals the victory for the team. And the crowd cheers and actually counted 1, 2, 3, which was really good to see that the crowd actually was into the match for once. So yeah, the main event match was pretty good, with Gentleman Jack Gallagher. And, of course, everyone loves to see the Scottish Supernova, Noam Dar. But anyways, it was a good cruiserweight match. Grand Metalik is a really good partner for Gallagher, too, because he's a little more talented than some of the people he's wrestled with, and Gallagher doesn't have to do a lot of the things to carry the match as much. Really, all he had to do in this match was a couple of drop kicks, his nice headbutt, and his corner drop kick for the pin. And, of course, still uses his star power to keep the crowd engaged. So, yeah, I hope to see them team a little bit more in the future. That really helps pick up Grand Metalik stock, and Grand Metalik brings out the best in Jack Gallagher. So, but anyways, good match. That was a good way to get the week started off with the main event. Then we get into the couple of matches on Monday Night Raw. Monday Night Raw! And these matches weren't actually really all that impressive, I didn't think. Really were just a couple of squash match showcases for Austin Aries and Neville leading into the championship match. So first they have Austin Aries taking on Noam Dar with Alicia Fox in the corner. Once again, anyone doesn't like me saying Alicia Fox, need to realize that I don't give two forks. And this had Neville on commentary, so as typical, they have the heel rival or the other rival on the microphone talking about the match. And this was a Philly crowd from Raw, and they were fairly quiet during the entrances, unfortunately. Anyways, Aries starts off shrugging the handshake, which they've been doing a lot lately, and he catches Noam Dar off guard with a running corner drop kick. Austin Aries botches a move early on, though, and it looked like it really hurt his shoulder. He kind of has Dar come off the ropes, and he goes to do some kind of a gut wrench move, and he just drops him or in the middle of it somehow, and it looked like he fell awkwardly, and then Aries holding his shoulder. And of course, this was supposed to be also when Noam Dar is supposed to have got injured, which we'll get into a little later on for his time tomorrow night on 205 Live. But anyways, it made me wonder what was going on with that? Did Austin Aries fake a shoulder injury to save face for botching a simple move? Was he actually hurt and just shrugged it off and fought through the entire match and is going to go into WrestleMania doing the best he can? Or was this, I don't know, was it all just a work to basically make him, make the match more interesting, or was it to make the injury angle for Noam Dar for tomorrow night? I really don't know what would happen with this. This botch was very unusual for Austin Aries, and not a good way to let you make your number one contender, who's supposed to be this dominating babyface star, go into the match with a botch like that. But it's what it was. Anyways, don't have an answer for that. But anyways, nothing spectacular about the match. Aries finishes the match with his usual moves: heat-seeking missile, suicide dive, and the newly named discus 5-arm, because it's more elaborate and amazing than a forearm, and surprisingly finishes with a last chancery submission hold, to which Dar immediately taps out. There's lots of tension between Aries and Neville in the commentary table during the match. Aries keeps looking at Neville and staring at him and stuff, but really nothing more to say about this match. It was fairly unremarkable, but it was a good way to show off Austin Aries for this week. And later on in the show, we had Neville versus the Gentleman Jack Gallagher. And, of course, Jack Gallagher is always entertaining, and this time Jack Gallagher does his corner handstand with Neville, and Neville runs right into his two boots when he puts his feet down. I guess he must not be watching the game film, as if he doesn't know that Dar does this, or that Gallagher does this to all his opponents. But anyways, he runs into his feet. Neville gets a vicious release German suplex, though, on Gallagher as he bounces off the ropes. Just vicious looking, and it stuns Gallagher, and the crowd gets a little bit of a gasp on that. And then the vicious headbutt from Gallagher knocks both of them senseless, though. And then Neville falls out of the ring. Gallagher then grabs his umbrella and does his Mary Poppins leap onto Neville. Kind of amusing, but unusually silly for Raw. But I don't know. I have trouble not finding it entertaining. I know some of the fans on Raw really thought that the Cruiserweight division just isn't being booked well, and it's poor television, poor wrestling programming. But I don't know. I enjoyed that, the little bit of antics from Gallagher. I think it's a bright spot, and it gives a little bit of variety and colorfulness to Raw. So I like it. I don't know, but it was after this, Neville gets vicious and finishes the match off with a top rope superplex and then a Ring of Saturn submission. And of course, Gallagher quickly taps out to that. Philly crowd was pretty decent for these Cruiserweight matches, though. They were cheering, reacting to the good spots. Weren't excited when Neville won, but there was some boos for him, which is good. They weren't quite as loud as the crowd for the main event. Well, maybe it's hard to say, though, because Philly was a really good crowd tonight. I was really impressed with them. But anyways, not too much to say about either match. Both really glorified squash matches to show off the dominance and toughness of Aries and Neville going into their big match at WrestleMania. But anyways, following this match, Austin Aries interviews the New Day and gets their endorsement by doing his hip moving dance with them, and that he'll win the Cruiserweight Championship. He did it to dance to get them to agree that he's going to win. But hey, getting the endorsement from the New Day speaks volumes for me, so that has me still leaning towards Austin Aries going into this match at WrestleMania. So anyways, that was all the preliminary shows. Then, of course, we have tonight's 205 Live, the granddaddy of them all. Well, not really, but it's the Cruiserweight show anyways. Always entertaining to watch. So anyways, the show starts off with Neville recapping what Austin Aries said to him on Raw and asking the TV audience if they've ever thought what 205 Live would be like without him. And he promises to show them by the end of the show. Did I really get into that with... After Austin Aries and Neville, after Neville's match, Austin Aries comes on the mic with New Day, and he was basically calling out Neville, and that's what they recapped his time with the New Day and dancing, and basically saying that he was going to win the title. But anyways, he decided to promise to show the audience that what 205 Live would be like without him. So anyways, they go to the break, and they start off with the first match: Rich Swann and versus Arya Daivari in a singles match. It's supposed to be Noam Dar apparently, but Dar supposed to have been hurt on Raw, probably I guess during the move where Aries dropped him. Whether it was kayfabe just to get him off the show to make the story different, or I don't know, to set up the angle later on where Swann gets to confront Alicia Fox without Dar around, or whether he actually was hurt, I don't know. But that botch did look pretty nasty, and I'm not surprised that Noam Dar was really hurt. But anyways, not a lot of story to this match, unfortunately, and it was, as it was supposed to be, different people in it. And it's supposed to continue the Alicia Fox storyline as far as they made it sound. So there was not a lot of visible interest in the entrance of Swann or Daivari. They had a rough handshake to start. It was a good match, back and forth, couple of false finishes. Near the end, Daivari hits a frog splash from the top and almost gets the 3 count. Then he drags Rich Swann into the corner, climbs the turnbuckles, but then Swann leaps up and pulls him down with his legs. What they call it, a Hurricane Rama or something like that, I don't know. But anyways, he sets up his Phoenix Splash for the win. Nothing too elaborate, but the crowd was actually getting into the match a bit, and when they got going, and they were starting to cheer, and it's a good way to get the show off to a good start. The crowd seemed to enjoy the opening match enough, even though there wasn't much of a story to it. Then they have a segment backstage with Alicia Fox giving an update on the condition of her boyfriend, Noam Dar. Says that a strong guy like him will be fine soon. Then Rich Swann comes by, calls Alicia Fox baby girl, tells her I was really looking forward to his match with Dar tonight, and tells him to tell Dar to get well soon. As he's saying this, the delivery guy comes out with the package, and Alicia Fox signs for it, scoops it up with glee, and opens it up, and it's this perfume. And basically, as she's opening it up, you see Swann go, "Oh, someone must really like you," as he walks away all smugly. Still building on the storyline that I'm pretty confident that it's always been Rich Swann that's been sending these gifts to Alicia Fox. But anyways, he goes away, and she sprays it all over herself gleefully and starts spraying it into her mouth and goes, "That's good." Kind of a weird bit there, but it was a rather amusing segment anyways. This leads into the next match. There's an amusing segment where Drew Gulak tries to convince Mustafa Ali. Of course, happy birthday to Mustafa Ali. Yeah, that's pretty cool to announce the birthday of one of the cruiserweights. That they should start a movement of not taking necessary risks, because they had a good match against Neville the previous week, but lost. And he's saying, it was great in the crowd, but you don't want to get hurt in that. And of course, Mustafa Ali says, the crowd's getting into it, and they were enjoying it and getting all this publicity and stuff. I love it. But Gulak tries to convince him that they should start a movement respecting the honor of classic traditional wrestling. But as well, he's delivering this beautiful inspirational speech. Mustafa Ali just takes off to the ring, leaving him talking to himself, and he realizes it and walks away. Anyways, that leads into his match with Brandon Scott. Who? Exactly. Look, let's play squash match. Mustafa Ali versus Brandon Scott. And of course it's a squash match because Brandon Scott's just getting a chance to get on television and wherever he came from. But anyway, Scott gets in a few early shots early on, but match is really about showcasing high-flying moves of Ali. Ali does a small handful of high-flying moves, finishes off with a squash match with a 450 inverted splash, as you'd expect. Gets the win, and while he's doing all these moves, Gulak's watching back in disgust about all these high-flying moves and taking all these chances, and how he ignored his request to start this movement. So that's what it is. The crowd's showing some energy during the match, and it's good to see, even though it was really just a quick, boring, like I said, match to show off Mustafa Ali's high-flying talent. It was mostly just a filler segment, too. But anyways, of course, the show takes a little bit of time here to build for some hype. For Austin Aries versus Neville, they show background footage and a lot of stuff leading up to the big title match. And the Fatal 5-Way, Austin Aries won to become the number one contender. And it's hoping we might see another match in the pre-show. But it appears it's only going to be the only match at WrestleMania for the Cruiserweights is going to be this title match. Because it is on the pre-show, and the pre-show is pretty packed from what I can tell. 2 or 3 matches already set for it, as well as a packed house on their main show. So unless they decide to have something on the takeover, which I don't expect, I'm pretty sure this is the only match we're going to see of the Cruiserweights at WrestleMania weekend at all. It's what it is. I mean, it's the title match, and the Cruiserweights are still taking off, and there's a lot of stuff going on in the world of WWE as they go into WrestleMania. So I guess the best we're going to get is this one match. So anyways, this leads up to the main event. Finally gets to see Akira Tozawa versus the Brian Kendrick. The finally awaited rivalry match between Akira Tozawa and the Brian Kendrick. They recap a bit of the hype leading up to it, and of course Kendrick's teaching him all the lessons, and well, they don't show all the lessons, but some of the lessons they taught him, leading up to lesson number 8. And then Tozawa's entering the ring. Anyways, they show this footage. Tozawa gets a bit of cheers as he comes in. And of course starts off the match hot. And the crowd joining him with this ha 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 ha, and the crowd's getting into it. And he does quickly a suicide dive to get the match going strong, getting the crowd into it. Carries on a little bit of Tozawa with some flying moves, Kendrick with a few heel tactics. Tozawa hits another suicide dive, and then of course throws Kendrick back and forth into the barricade a couple of times, and looks like he's getting all brutal into the tough hardcore match out of the ring. But then out of nowhere, Kendrick catches Tozawa charges Kendrick, and Kendrick catches him with a drop to hold and just slams his face, trips him to slam his face down into the metal ramp. I'm pretty sure it must have been sold well, because it couldn't have been as nasty as it looked, but they made it look pretty nasty. And then of course it made Kendrick look like an opportunistic heel, which was good, showing his strength and his heel character, getting the crowd all excited about the match. Anyways, Tozawa was pretty hurt from this, or sells it really well, and barely beats the count back into the ring, even as much as slipping at the 8 count and getting back up, and then finally rolling in at the count of 10. So anyways, Kendrick works over Tozawa for a while after this, using some ground moves and submission holds. Then Tozawa counters and gets a bit of nice offense. Kendrick finds an opportunity to headlock Tozawa and run to the corner to hit his sliced bread number 2. Gets the 1, 2, but Tozawa kicks out, and the crowd actually delights that someone actually kicked out of Kendrick's sliced bread number 2 finisher. Shortly after that, Kendrick and Tozawa battle on the top turnbuckle, and Kendrick does the heel thing and removes the top turnbuckle pad, exposing it. And then, of course, they end up off the turnbuckle. Tozawa runs in the other corner, gets the crowd going, ha, 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 one final battle cry, runs at Kendrick. Kendrick moves out of the way, and Tozawa runs smack dab into the exposed turnbuckle, falls down over. Kendrick rolls him up to seal the heel victory. Beautiful heel victory for Kendrick to really keep the rivalry going, get the fire going. I guess it's going to go on for a while still. As Kendrick leaves the ring, he grabs the mic and says, lesson number 9 is that anything and everything can be used as a weapon. So the lessons still continue for poor Akira Tozawa. Very, very exciting feud going with them anyways. Looking forward to seeing more of their matches together. What more can you say? So anyways, then finally the final segment. Neville comes out for his promo to the audience on what the world of 205 Live would be like without him. And he starts off usual bragging, gloating session, self-promotion, I guess they call it. And then he says, what will the world of 205 be like if you got what you want and Austin Aries beat me for the title, and there was no more There was no more of me. Roll the footage. And of course, there's no footage. Which is basically is his way of saying 205 Live would be nothing without me. Just a bunch of gloating and everything. And then finally Austin Aries comes out to confront him as usual. And the crowd is mostly during I should add on that normally during most of Neville's promo, the crowd really is kind of trolling him with what, and then when he starts talking about his opponent, they start chanting Austin Aries, and Neville used it well to say yes, Austin Aries, and talking about him as if they were giving the answers he wanted to hear, expecting to hear. But most of Neville's solo bit was the crowd wasn't really all that supportive. When Austin Aries calls Neville out as usual, says that as good as Neville is, he's just better. That's the gist of what he's saying, and he's that they'll tear the house down at WrestleMania no matter where they are in the card, because of course they're trying to sell up the fact that even though they're on the pre-show, that it's still going to be a great match, and they're going to tear the house down together, put a great match on. But he reminds Neville, I'm going to take your title. And just as he's saying this, Neville whacks him in the head suddenly, out of nowhere, and makes him drop his mic, and starts the attack on him, and slams his face down to the mat, and grabs his belt all smugly, and starts to leave the ring as the crowd boos. The crowd, of course, boos really good. Glad to see Neville's getting the that kind of heat. But then he stops as he's about to leave the ring, decides, I'm not finished yet. Goes back into the ring and tries to confront Aries again. And then Aries out of nowhere whacks him, and he gets his a bunch of attacks in, and basically it sends Neville to the mat. And Neville barely manages to escape with his title, and decides to and manages to squeak out of the ring as Austin Aries celebrates with the crowd. Pretty good confrontation to end the show. Hype up the match at WrestleMania. Crowd enjoyed it, and the crowd got to enjoy the usual final moments of a show as where you have Neville leaving the ring as a cowardly heel with the belt on his shoulder, and Austin Aries, of course, looking all tough in the middle of the ring, the baby face, which you expect. Not a bad 205 Live go-home show. Really, the fact that they decided to finish or at least build on the feud between Tozawa and Lee Brian Kendrick was a smart thing, because it's not. People might see more of that at WrestleMania, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. So it's good that they actually built on that feud during the show. The first match was, like I said, supposed to be building on the other feud, the feud between the Alicia Fox story. But of course, if Noam Dar really did get hurt, then they did the best they could to fill in, make the match as interesting as they could, and they had that little filler segment with Alicia Fox behind the scenes to make up for it. And if it was all kayfabe, designed to get rid of Noam Dar for the week, that so they could give Swan a chance to have his backstage segment with Alicia Fox. Either way, it was well set up, and it was enough good stuff on the show to make for a good 205 Live this week. And of course, really the main purpose was to get people hyped about the Cruiserweight title match between Austin Aries and Neville at WrestleMania on the pre-show, and I think it did its job. So anyways, I'm going to wrap it up with that. So again, this is Danimal Daniel Jobber, self-proclaimed Duke of the Cruiserweights. And this has been another episode of oh, excuse me, gotta have a drink with me from the future, of Jobbing Out with Danimal Daniel Jobber, 205 Live, and WWE Cruiserweight Report. And I'm doing these weekly. I'm going to start doing them at 11:30 Mountain Time, 1:30 Eastern, just so I have the extra little bit of time to make sure all my notes are in order. I'm not planning to go on the air earlier than I'm supposed to. So I'm going to keep doing them live, of course. At some point I may do some of them not live. But the nice thing about doing them live is they're up for your viewing a lot quicker, and you don't have to wait to see them on YouTube as long. They're on my Twitch channel, they're on my YouTube channel, and you get to watch me live if you want to tune in. So everybody kind of wins that way. So I like the live videos. Hopefully the streaming is okay. I'm a little bit choppier, I think, and I have a little bit of slow times maybe on the stream than it is if I was to do a live video on regularly recording on a webcam. But like I said, it gives you a chance to see it sooner and to keep basically build on the hype from the show and give people a chance to watch this show afterwards and kind of relive the hype, which I like to do. I know when people do a recap show after Raw or SmackDown or whatever, I like to watch it right away afterwards or soon afterwards, so I can build on or I don't know what you want to call it, just enjoy the excitement and feelings I got from the show and kind of put it all into perspective as I watch the review show. So that's what I'm trying to do with this mostly. to be the review show that allows people to, who enjoyed 205 Live and the week of Cruiserweights to come on and, kind of put it all into perspective before it's too long. And if they want to tune in several days later or they watch a show later on the WWE Network, that's great too. Anyways, WrestleMania 33 on this weekend, and of course on Saturday is NXT TakeOver, and on Friday is the Hall of Fame show. And all this is on the WWE Network, free for people who are subscribing, no cost for pay-per-views, all 3 great shows. In Canada, $11.99 a month, that's it. All the online content, hours and hours, ages and ages of footage if you were to watch it all. You could never get enough time to watch all the content online and let alone all the stuff that's on 24/7 on the network. If you're not excited about the WWE Network, you haven't watched it, as far as I'm concerned. There's so much to learn and to enjoy about the world of wrestling on the network. $11.99 in Canada, you just can't beat it for the price. And if you're in the States, $9.99 a month. And if you sign up right now, you're going to get it free, because in the States, in the US, there's the free month. So you're going to get WrestleMania not for $11.99 like we get it in Canada if we were to sign up, or every other month. You're going to get it absolutely free if you're a new signee with your free trial. I mean, how can you beat that? WrestleMania, NXT TakeOver Orlando, and the Hall of Fame show, totally free. You just can't beat it. I mean, if you're not signed up, you're not signing up this weekend, what the heck are you waiting for? And if you're planning to steal WrestleMania and those shows from the Steal WWE Network, shame on you, man. Support the WWE. If you want great programming, great content, you don't want to see it go back to $55 pay-per-views, $60 pay-per-views, $65 pay-per-views, support the network. It is the best thing that's happened to wrestling since the likes of Hulk Hogan, Macho Man Randy Savage, Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock. The best thing we've had in wrestling in years. I fully support it 100%. I suggest you give it a try. I think you'll love it just as much as I do, and I think you realize it's worth $11.99 a month, $9.99 a month, and it's just not worth stealing something when you can actually support the product that we pretend to love and we say we love and we endorse. So anyways, that's my usual rant and spiel on the WWE Network. Get it today. It's worth it. You'll love it. Anyways, once again, this is Danimal Daniel Jobber, self-proclaimed Duke of the Cruiserweights. You can follow me at Daniel Jobber on Twitter. I'm on Instagram under Daniel Jobber as well. Danimal Daniel Jobber, actually, pardon me, if I'm not mistaken. But of course on Twitter it's too long, so I'm just at Daniel Jobber. You can email me if you want to email me, whatever, at DanimalDanielJobber@gmail.com. I have my main YouTube channel now for this kind of content, which is Danimal Daniel Jobber. Nice to keep a single theme for everything. And of course, I'm also on Facebook. If you see me on Facebook or watching this on Facebook, you know I'm also here. But anyways, I'm on, and of course, my Twitch channel is also Danimal Daniel Jobber. If you aren't seeing this originally here on Twitch, easy to follow. Love lots of comments. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you thought of the Cruiserweight week and 205 Live. Let me know what you think of my power rankings that I'm going to have up on my website, DanimalDanielJobber.ca, either tonight or probably tomorrow sometime. And of course, as I said, tomorrow I'm going to do a live or recorded, I haven't decided yet, preview of WrestleMania 33. Going to go through all the matches, my predictions, what I think is going to happen, what I hope will happen. And I'm not going to actually do a particular thing on NXT TakeOver. I haven't followed NXT quite as wholeheartedly as I have in the past. I know it's going to be a great show on Saturday night, but I don't intend on previewing it per se. I might mention a couple of the matches maybe during my WrestleMania 33 thing, but anyway, sorry to go on a little bit longer this video, but it's WrestleMania 33 week. What more could you ask for? It's going to be the ultimate thrill ride, as they want to call it. They don't want to call it WrestleMania 33. It's WrestleMania, the ultimate thrill ride that we're going to have in Orlando, Florida this weekend. So anyways, hope you enjoy it. Hope you have a wonderful WrestleMania week. If I don't see you at my preview video tomorrow, hope you just have a wonderful weekend. Hope everything goes great. Oh, and of course, I want to express my heartfelt condolences again to our brother in wrestling, Jim Ross, for losing his wife Jan in a tragic accident on some kind of a motorbike or something. She wasn't wearing a helmet. She might have lived if she was, according to Jim. And the rumor is that the person who hit her was a 17-year-old who was texting while driving. So kids, don't text and drive. Please don't do that. Don't drink and drive. Don't text and drive. Don't do that stupid crap. It's not worth it. Life is too precious, man. Someone cost a really wonderful man, a wonderful lady, and a life with this angel, as he calls her, and basically he's going to have to go through the rest of his life without the woman he loves, and the person, that 17-year-old who hit her, is going to have to live the rest of his life knowing that one moment of lack of focus where he couldn't leave his device alone for a minute to look up at the road caused him to take a woman's life and to cost a family their loved one. It's just a horrible thing. And it's the same thing with drinking and driving. If you drink and drive, you text and drive, you're a selfish idiot. It's just not worth it. Don't do it. Listen to the jobber. Don't do that because the jobber said so. Anyways, that's all I'm going to do for today. You guys have a wonderful night. Jobber out!